Yo, Mason, welcome to the podcast, bro. Thanks for joining us.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Really excited to be here.
Yeah, we're super excited to have you. So, the first question that we have for you is you've built an amazing business where you basically do both design and development for brands, and you're not only visually driven, but also performance and conversion driven. And most designers basically avoid engineering trade offs when building websites. They skip the hard parts, which makes the website look amazing, but you embrace them. So, what is the trade off doing that? And how do you go about it? How did you start doing that? And what was your thinking really?
Yeah, for sure. So for me, like I have fun like getting into the weeds, doing the difficult parts. So like the micro animations, like the scroll effects. So that's like where I differ from many other designers. Maybe they're trying to like just finish the project as quick as possible. But for me, I'm like trying to learn more and like, explore and try different things with the client.
How do you defend when stakeholders just say, we want this to be pure conversion and data driven and don't get into all that?
So usually when they say that, I'm just asking them like, look, do you want to look like every other brand or do you want to stand out? A lot of times they still go with the route of looking like their competitors, but really I'm trying to push them and challenge them, be like, hey, if we do it this way, you'll stand out. And it might not be like the norm and it might not be like conversion focused as like the marketing team is looking for. But sometimes if you break the rules, user, the customer will like really appreciate that. So if they see a really animated hero section or like scroll section or something that's different from companies in their niche and they're trying to like break the rules and like change how things are done, I think users will respect that. So yeah, it's not always about following the rules. I know every big company wants to like follow the standards, make sure everything looks like their competitors. But I think like the best projects I've had where actually like the conversions are stronger is where like we break the rules, make the brand look different and make the site look different than others.
Do you have a project that comes to mind talking about this that you would love to do differently if you had to redo it?
Yeah, for sure. I don't want to say the name, but it's like a big Web3 company. So they came to us and they're looking to do a rebrand. They're one of the top 100 like crypto coins. So they wanted to do a rebrand of their site. And at first they came to me with all these exciting ideas, glass effects, like Rive animations in the hero section, scroll effects. Like they told me they wanted to be different. But then in the end, like it just gets more and more to where they want to be the same like everyone else. It worked out in the end, but I think it actually would have been better for their brand if they sticked with the original mood board and like the vibe they wanted to go for instead of in the end, too many people on their team getting nervous about the switch up. I'm sure you guys can relate to that. And they just didn't want to be different. So yeah, that's one where I wish I just could have like full creative freedom.
Makes sense. And I think we get to see that, especially across, I don't know, different platforms like Framer, for example. Some of my clients, they get to pick a template, they go to Framer and they get to see different things. And I'm like, you want it to be different. You told me you want to look different. And I think that's something I can relate a lot because they want to look like the closest competitor or someone they follow. And having that unique proposition, that unique value as a brand, especially on the identity, on the visual part, I think that's amazing. Instead of copying someone else, try to push out there what makes you unique in terms of value, not only colors and not only branding. We have this question because you honestly, your studio sounds like a startup when launched. And
Yeah.
that's something that I know you run very disciplined and you're growing a team. Want to ask you, when you try to sell or you connect with clients and they're interested in your services, how do you sell big idea execution? How do you approach what they're looking for? They might be looking for a small project or big projects, but the other day, mostly we have like core values, core principles that we approach clients. What is the methodology that you follow there or something that's just on top of your mind?
Yeah, for sure. So a little bit about like my agency. So when launched, like the name comes from, I was originally only focused in like the crypto space. So crypto coins, like NFTs. So like the studio started like wanting to be really creative because those type of companies, like their website is actually everything. So you launch like an NFT project, you need like an animated, like vibrant, really illustrated site. So I think like where my style comes is from doing those type of projects and like thinking differently. So now like a lot of clients come to me and they want something a little different. They want to stand out from their competitors. So usually, yeah, like I'm trying to work with them as a partner, build something different, build something cool.
Yeah, no, it's okay. How do you normally approach and someone starting out? How should they approach the clients when it comes to standing out? And for example, being like, I don't want to sound like every single agency. I want to sound like my own brand voice. How do you curate that brand voice? Just to refine it.
Yeah, for sure. So I think like someone, if they're a freelancer, should look into what are their interests. So like for me, like I was interested in gaming, comic books, like illustrative things, and the NFT and crypto side. So like I worked on those type of projects. So I think like bringing your own creativity and working with the type of clients who respect that and don't try to be like everyone else. So don't try to copy all these framer templates. Don't try to just copy the dribble shots or the shots on X. Try to be creative. Think about what you actually like. And then maybe it's not inspiration from an actual website. Like maybe you're looking on Pinterest and you find this cool illustration or something. So trying to recreate that in the web design form, I think is really great method to take. And that's like the method I'm trying to take. And I think that's why clients reach out is because they're looking for something different. Like they see so many profiles. If you look the same as everyone else, they're probably not going to reach out.
Yeah, I agree, brother. And I think that goes from end to right, from what clients able to see, and also what is behind the scene, the way that you have the processes, the brand. I think it's very interesting. And yeah, thanks a lot for sharing that.
Yeah, for sure.
You have some amazing reviews, I'd say the least. But yeah, basically, if I could sum it up, it talks about how you have great communication and responsiveness, and that's amazing. But for me as a creative, for Ismail, we all know like some projects on paper, they go great, but you end up walking away with a feeling of something could have been better. So can you talk us through an experience you had and like how do you deal with that usually when it happens?
Yeah, I have so many experiences like walking away, damn, like they're happy, but I'm not actually happy how it turned out. And usually that happens like the client at the end just takes over. They're like, let's switch this, let's do this revision, things like that. The projects that go the best for me is where the client comes to me, they're like, I don't want to make that many decisions. You're the expert. I give you full creative control. And usually what I've found is I'm actually making this switch for 2026 is the clients with like smaller budget, maybe they don't have as much business experience. Like maybe it's their first business. They try to micromanage you a bit and steer the whole project and don't trust you as the creative, where someone who maybe they launched a few businesses, has a larger budget, will let you have more creative control. So usually for me, it's like I'm walking away if I don't feel the most confident or could have done more, if they're just trying to control the whole project, or in the end, they take over the framer file and mess up 100 things, even though I told them how, which happens more than I'd like. And I think the other thing I might walk away not so happy is the timeline was too tight, which happens like a ton of times. I'm like, oh, I could have done this better, or we could have tried this, could have explored that, but the timeline was 1 week, 2 weeks. It really wasn't in the equation. So I think like those two scenarios happen more frequently than not. So this year I'm trying to make it more clear that maybe the timeline might take a month and a half, and just like canceling out, saying no to the smaller clients, especially the ones who don't have as much business experience because they just don't understand the process.
Yeah, so it's like changing the workflow, but also your expectations.
Yeah, part of it a lot of times is my problem. Like I didn't set the expectations clear enough. So upfront, just like explaining how the process will go, and also like pre-qualifying the clients to make sure, based on working with dozens and dozens of clients, I'm getting the gut feeling, oh, this might not be a good fit for what I'm trying to build. Because I am doing the client projects, but also like I want to explore my own style with these projects and don't just want to be considered like a designer who they give me the task and I do it. I want to be more like a partner for them.
Yeah, that's an approach that I would say it takes some time. It took me some time, probably 2024. I didn't do that for the first 6 months freelancing full time. I was a task guy. Give me a task per hour, I do it. And then last year, I can relate to that because I got to learn like I want to be your partner and just being like you say, setting the boundary and being straightforward with the clients from the first go. Look, see me as a partner. And I don't just think on pixel. I think on the strategy. I think on the launch. I think on what's next after the purchase. I want you to succeed. I think using specific language for the client to understand this person is here to send me all for success, not just to execute the task and go. I think that's very crucial. And sometimes it takes time. It takes time. Not everyone, at least in my case, I don't have a studio experience, but sometimes when you have some studio, big company experience, you know how things work in that way. But sometimes you just figure out your own way. And I think
Yeah.
that takes some time, but it pay off when you start implementing that, when you start taking the next leap.
Yeah, for sure. I've been thinking about this a lot. So like when I started too, it was like just a complete grind. Like I'd do anything and just focus on like the money, increasing my revenue to survive and make the business work. And I think every freelancer has to start like that. If you have no projects under your belt, like the client really won't trust you. So I think in the early days, like what I try to tell other freelancers who are getting started is take on the projects. Like even if you have to take on some projects for really cheap or low, take on the ones that are going to build your portfolio. And then later you can position yourself as a partner, showing you have the expertise. Because if you're just starting out, the clients won't take you seriously to consider your ideas and your partner. But if I take a project now, I can always reference another site or another company I worked with and be like, hey, like when we did it this way, they got this result. So if you trust me on this decision, I think it'll go well. So yeah, like I think that's the phases you go through, like struggling freelancer, take on any project, and then like slowly positioning yourself more towards an expert and a partner will allow you to have the projects where you feel confident walking away.
Yeah, I agree. That confidence, I think that's exactly the key, right? That it takes a little bit of time getting that confidence on your skill, getting the confidence on your portfolio, on the work that you also knowing that past clients they talk the truth about your projects, right? About your talent, about what you can deliver. Yeah, that was a realization that just thinking through from last year for me too. We had some fire questions, quick questions, just don't think too much, but what is the worst design trend that you see people defending and pushing out there and you think that's next?
Oh man, there's a lot. I think the award sites trend, I like it, but sometimes the sites are just too animated. I think on Framer, there's a lot of trends with people just over animating everything, clicking every text, adding the text effect, the pure effect with the blur. If I see one more site like that, I might go crazy. I think what I'm trying to focus on this year is micro animations, focusing on thoughtful animations in the site. And then the other trend, which I liked at first, but I'm starting to really hate it. I don't know about you guys, is the Apple glass effect, because every client is coming to me wanting to do it now and wanting to see it perfectly executed on a live site where it's just hard to do exactly like the Apple videos. If you go to Apple's site, they're not even using this glass effect on their live site. So I think it's fun in imageries and stuff, but when they want it in every UI element, every aspect, and some clients want it on the light background, it just doesn't work. So I think those two trends, there's a lot of other Framer specific trends I could think of that maybe developers are doing, but yeah, those are like the two that come to my mind.
And then they go ahead and ask you, how come it's not as responsive as before we had all the glass?
What's that? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I know. It's crazy. Like they want it to have this glass effect, but they also want it like perfectly responsive, like the site to load fast, work on every device, which is just not going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good for imagery, but I think when it comes to web design, gotta be careful.
Speaking on feedback, what's the strongest feedback you've ever gotten that was actually good for you and improved you?
I think when someone told me like a client, because at first like I'd always look to the client for the direction in the project, but when the coach or a client I think told me like as the client I'm supposed to lead the project. When I took that shift, I think the project started going a lot better. So starting out as a freelancer, I'd take on the project and wait for the client to give me the direction on the way things go. But really, as the freelancer, as the studio, the client is coming to you as the expert. So you need to lead the project and give them the process, give them the details and the timeline and say, the project's going to go this way. We're going to do it this way, and be really firm about the way things go. Because at the end of the day, you've done this so many times, so you know better than them. So if you let the client lead the project, it's going to take longer. Things aren't going to turn out as well. So yeah, I think that's one really strong advice. That's more of a business side compared to the design side. But as a freelancer, you really need to focus on the business side if you want to grow.
Yeah, I agree. And sometimes this feedback change the business or the approach that you have with future clients, right? Because now you can switch something and be like, oh, I think that feedback might be tough to digest, but it also can be positive. I recently got a feedback like that with the client that went for lunch, and the client told me like straight off, I think, man, you should offer like end to finish execution, because that's what you do with me with different platforms. I think you could charge like double what you charge me. And yeah, he gave me some feedback that was like, I should take this out because he's a client that's very satisfied. I was like, man, I'm happy to pay for lunch. He's happy to give you a Christmas bonus. So that kind of feedback from the right person, I think that resonating and change something. We want to ask you, if you had to pick one service out of the entire portfolio, what is something that you will keep in a way?
I would say I'd probably take out the e-commerce stuff. I'm doing less of that, but it's also like too many moving parts, I think, with the client. When they come to you for the e-commerce, they might want you to set up the products. Like they might want you to do like social media marketing. I think I would remove that completely. I'd only focus on startups, on like software, like AI tech focused sites, and just do like design development, framer, landing pages, websites for US based, so I can like keep on their time zone and everything, startups in the AI and tech space. I think if I did that, my life would be a lot easier, honestly. But I do like to juggle like a lot of different things because I have a lot of different interests. I'm sure you guys can relate. But sometimes it makes more sense for the business to just niche down, focus on only one offer. You'll probably make more money and have less stress, but like part of me loves the challenges and loves the craziness sometimes. So yeah, I think I'd remove everything else. But
From your experience, what is one thing clients focus on too much in terms of metrics or like something they really want to achieve with their website?
I would say usually towards that, they're focusing a lot on the site speed and like the lighthouse score, which sometimes shouldn't even matter. And also it's like the challenge, like they want this really animated site. They want videos everywhere, but they're also wondering why is their site slow sometimes. So I think that's a huge challenge that I try to overcome a lot of times just by optimizing the site as much as possible.
Yeah, especially when the clients, they put the proposal into a prompt and tell you as a designer what to do. And that's what they copy and paste. And most of those projects, they come out size 3 under 3 seconds, blah, blah, blah. Sure, it's suggesting to do, but not everything applies to your business. Not everything maximize or drive conversions at the end of the day.
I have some clients, I think they're putting every single file and then giving it to me and leaving the Figma comments. Like this one project, I'm not going to name, but when they gave me each feedback round, each Figma comment was like paragraphs and paragraphs of ChatGPT feedback on what should be changed for better optimization and stuff like that. And I was like, dude, like I can't work with you. I feel like you're a robot or something. So please just tell me like straight up, like what's the feedback? Because I know you think it's making it easier, like putting it into AI and stuff, but please don't do that.
Yeah, that's tough, especially when they plug and play your entire project or what you have done for them to ChatGPT. Oh, ChatGPT,
Yeah.
give me this feedback about what we have done.
Yeah. I was just gonna say if they do that, like I might just tell them go design your site with Chat GPT and AI because it seems like you don't need me.
Yeah, and most of the time they ain't doing that. Have you deal with some clients that they go into, I don't know, any kind of bytecode platform right now? They try to do a website, they get frustrated, and they find out that it doesn't look like they want it to look, and then they go back to you and they say, "Hey, I want something done," because they already tried AI. They saw AI didn't work, and they don't know how to prompt AI to make it work. And then they come back to you and they want you to really do something.
Yeah, for sure. I think if they came back to me after trying the AI approach, I'd just say no. Some clients come to me like they tried to build something on AI, and I'm like, okay, this is a good starting point to get the concept and we can work from that. But yeah, I think if they reject me, go to AI and realize I can't do this and come back, I'd be like, sorry, you had your chance. I can't work with you.
If you had to pick a design mantra that doesn't convert really well, but you see everyone using the design mantra that you would.
Yeah, I think just like creating the sites as creative as possible. A lot of clients come to me and they're very worried about conversions. When I design the site, I'm not usually thinking so much about the conversions. I'm more thinking about something very cool, very animated and interesting. If I was the user, would I want to look at this website, scroll through it? Where the challenge comes is a lot of clients are focusing too much on the conversions and trying to be like everyone else. Whereas if you created something really spectacular and amazing, you can probably convert better anyway with a strong brand identity, colors, animation and stuff. So I think my mantra, websites that catch attention, getting the attention of the user is just as important as making a conversion focused site. Something that resonates with the customer or the user is what I'm looking to do and break boundaries for sure.
Yeah, it makes sense, bro. At the end of the day, the ideal client person doesn't resonate with the site. So what is that for? It's not going to convert.
Yeah.
I have a fun question for you. If someone is a contra starting out, they use Framer, what's something that you focus 100% one thing on 2026?
Yeah, for sure. So now there's a lot more framer designers on Contra and it's harder to stand out. So I would say try to get the discovery points as high as possible, but also try to stand out, which I think I've done pretty well in my portfolio and you guys have done well as well. Like just don't try to make the projects look like everyone else and focus on getting those reviews, getting the cover images that really stand out, and try focusing on a niche that you think a lot of clients are coming to for Contra. So maybe that's AI or tech or something, and then show how you're an expert in that, I think is really strong. But yeah, a lot of people come to me, they're like, I can't get any clients on Contra. But also when I started out, originally, most of my clients were coming from Behance, from my portfolio there, like the Web3 NFT type projects. And then I brought them onto Contra, got the reviews and built my profile up there. So usually I'm saying like Contra, you should think of it as like a long-term game. Try to get clients elsewhere and then bring them to Contra. I think they'll get a bonus, which I've got a lot of bonuses, just bringing clients to Contra, and then they'll get the review and help their profile. So yeah, at first as well, like I was starting out like cold emailing, cold DMing, just trying to get as many profiles under my belt. And then once you get those clients, just say, hey, I'm going to start the project on Contra. You can build your profile that way and play the long game. Like it takes a long time to build it up.
Yeah, definitely. It's 1 or even 2, 3 month game. It can take a lot longer than that. But once it does, it piles up.
Yeah, for sure. I think especially like Q4 when the Framer Challenge started, like I really did not think I was going to hit the goal. But like all the things I was doing in the early parts of the year, like really grinding on Contra, which was like 50% of the revenue I calculated for the Framer Challenge, and like just building up my network and client base really helped towards the end of the year compared to 2024. Like I was just cold emailing like crazy, grinding very small budget projects, working really long hours for quite a low wage. So yeah, they just got to trust the process and be consistent every day. We're trying to get better.
Yeah, that's so true, bro. I think most people are looking for the shortcuts, right? They're starting out, not just in content, any platform. And they look for the shortcut, like how can I rank up and create a portfolio? Like what I see, Daniel, Adriano, like really high profiles, and they don't see the hustle behind that. They don't see what you get to do behind that at the beginning, especially. And I can relate a lot with that because last year I had a lot of clients coming from contract compared with 2024 because basically I did some job on 2024. I was like doing the same thing, bringing from all work cold email. So people don't get to see that. And eventually things compound and you get on 2026 to work with people from 2025 that they launch a new product and they want to work with you. They launch new businesses. And you don't necessarily have to hustle this year to get new clients. You basically have to look for ways to outsource because everyone is coming at once. And that's a good problem to have. But yeah, at the beginning, it's challenging. At least for me, it took me like 6 months to get my first client from Contra. And we've been working since then. That was a year ago. So it's really cool. And other clients that they happy paying or looking for ways to pay outside the platform. And I know that the platform doesn't penalize. And those earnings, they don't count toward your goal, but
Yeah.
it's my hookers.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think like freelancers, they just need to like think of it as like a snowball effect. Like when you build like a snowman or whatever, you're like starting out from a very small snowball, but as it like grows and gets bigger, like things just become easier. So for me, like especially the first year was just like such a grind. But I think also a lot of people too, like they're just focusing on too many things. If you just dive into one thing, focus on it hardcore for 1 year, then like things will eventually work out. So yeah, that's like the advice I'd give people starting off.
I would even go ahead and add to that because you said low budget projects, which are the worst because you, like you said, you work your soul out and you get paid nothing. And then the client is super picky and micromanages you. And I've noticed sometimes freelancers, like they get approached by people who are asking for big projects. And the core issue is they just don't have the courage to say the price. And instead they're downplaying it like, oh, they probably don't want to pay this much. Just say how much it costs and see what happens.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's a problem I face as well. Early on, like you have to take these low budget projects to stay alive. But like I think we're all to the point now. We just need to say the highest price that comes to mind for a lot of these projects and take on much less, because especially for the Framer challenge, I was just juggling way too much at once. Some of them were bigger budget projects that were like my target ICP, but then some of the other ones just to make the challenge work were much smaller. And those ones actually gave me the biggest headache. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
like for this year, I'm just trying to take on much less, working with bigger clients with bigger budgets and just keep raising the price until
Yeah.
most
And then
people are
also
saying no. Yeah.
you already know like most of the projects you see them and on the paper they should cost X. In reality, they're going to take longer and you should charge like X plus something just so that it will be worth it for you and you're not going to lose it halfway through feeling like you're burning your resources.
Yeah, for sure. I think like most of the time, like 99% of the time for me at least, the freelancer gets like the short end of the stick where they're getting a lot less like value from the project compared to the client. So like always try to overcharge what you think, because in the end, like I think, oh, it might take this long and be this many things, but when you're working with a client, just so many things come up, revision cycles, like added scope, which you need to be careful of, just like delays and all those type of things that happen in life. So always try to just charge more. But once you get to that point, I think when you're starting out though, just take on anything that feels like a good fit and build up your portfolio. And then when you feel like you're at a more of an expert level, position yourself as a partner and raise your prices.
Definitely.
Yeah, likewise, bro. I think that's a great advice. And I think we've been there, right? Hustling, starting out, not just a new platform, but new business. And it's kind of scary. It's scary. You need to make it to the other month. Like you have some small budget projects that you're like, I didn't want to take this, but I had to do it right now. So I get to learn. And you learn, I would say, you learn more from small projects than from big projects sometimes, especially if it's the wrong project. And you have to decline, you have to turn it off. I turn it down. You learn a lot from that, bro. I don't have any other questions, but Mason, it's been great meeting you, man. I can't wait to see what's coming up for you on the Framing Challenge. You already won the challenge. I can't wait to see the social about that. And I'm really excited to collaborate with you on future projects.
It was great. Thanks guys for having me. Looking forward to following your guys' journey in 2026 and seeing what Contra brings up for all of us. It's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah. Thanks guys.